Where the California coast meets a sea of green and gold, rivalries don't just live, they echo. Tonight, under these hills, it's another chapter of the blue-green rivalry, a showdown between UC Santa Barbara and Cal Poly, two programs that know each other too well and don't like each other one bit. This rivalry, it's never just a game. The Big West standings coming into this weekend, Cal Poly and UCSB, each near the top of the table, with UC San Diego at technical first spot at this point. 8-1, Cal Poly 10-2. The Mustangs with many more wins and looking to keep that rolling against this UC Santa Barbara team that has some of the best arms in the country, but Cal Poly peppered with tremendous bats top to bottom, 1 through 9, and a batting average that peppers the top of the Big West. UCSB and Cal Poly. It's a matchup that starts at the top of the hour. Don't go anywhere. Big West baseball is right around the corner. Off the coast of California, Griffin Ness takes the mound for Cal Poly. The junior has been an ace for a couple of seasons now, and boy, do the numbers reflect it. The Friday guy, who's an all-Big West honoree, takes on a UC Santa Barbara lineup that hasn't been hot as of late, and he looks to keep them quiet. Here with Eric Burdick, I'm Max Kelton. Eric, what's the MO on this young man?
Griffin Ness has pitched twice against UC Santa Barbara, and he has a no decision in both games. Cal Poly won one of the games. That was last year, extra inning, but not in 2024. Griffin Ness 4-1 on the year and an ERA of 3.69. He is 19-4 in 3 seasons at Cal Poly, all as a starter.
A 4-pitch mix for Griffin Ness, and he'll face on this order for UC Santa Barbara. Rowan Kelly remains at the top. The rest of them shift around, with Bazizo batting second, Hazovsky third, Esker in the cleanup spot. He's been hot as of late. Kosciuszko, Carliner, Libid, and then 8 and 9, Nunez and Severance. And the head coach for UC Santa Barbara, it's not Andy Stankiewicz. It's actually Andrew Checketts in his 15th season with UCSB. And the Gauchos, the bats just haven't been there as of late, but they do have Jackson Flora on the mound, who we'll see in the bottom half of the first inning. The Gaucho team that has certainly ridden the pitching all season long. But UCSB takes on Griffin Ness and this Cal Poly side that has been tremendous at home this year. And how about the start for Cal Poly in Big West play? Comes after a 12-0 start last year in Big West action. This season, 10-2 in the second spot of the Big West. And Griffin Ness looks to set this table on a high note. You know, talk about a Thursday guy. He's typically a Friday starter, 1 day less of rest this week. And Ness now has to face one of the top teams in the Big West coming into a 3-game set this weekend.
Yeah, he also had one less day of rest last week because Cal Poly played UC Davis on a Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then went down to UC Riverside and played on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. This weekend series, because of Easter Sunday, is a Thursday, Friday, Saturday affair. So for the last couple of weeks, Griffin Ness has been pitching on one less day of rest. Did get the win last Friday at UC Riverside.
It sounds like he's gotten into a rhythm there as well with one less day of rest. So instead of the typical 7 days, he's got 6. And Rowan Kelly ready to step in to lead things off for UC Santa Barbara. Kelly the lefty, he starts in left field today. Ness, first pitch. We're underway with a ball upstairs. Andrew Burke calling balls and strikes today. Eduardo Ruiz, the first base umpire. Denver Dubrul, the second base umpire. Well, Gary Gilman is at third this weekend. This pitch is tended to foul.
Find a couple of teams with a little bit of different style. Cal Poly has been hitting the ball very well this year. 301 team batting average. Meanwhile, UC Santa Barbara relies quite a bit on its pitching.
And the Mustangs have shifted around a couple of players in the field as well, as this one dives in for strike 2.
Yeah, unfortunately, Nick Castillon has sprained his ankle for the second time in 2 weeks. Did it at Loyola Marymount a week and a half ago, and then last Tuesday at Fresno State did the same thing, sprained the ankle, so he's out tonight.
A ball and 2 strikes. That's fended off, foul.
And he's a big loss. He's been hitting the ball very well from the leadoff spot for Cal Poly, well over 300. And
you know, it's a fair point. And you're talking about Castellon, who in his second year putting up .339 batting average, but he leads the team in runs as well. Really seeing the ball well, patient at the plate, and that's what makes him a good leadoff man. We'll see in the bottom half of the order that Cal Poly team at the plate. This is lifted, foul territory. Quite the run for Spiridonov at third base, unable to get there.
Bikini was playing well off the line in left field, and he couldn't get there.
Maybe this is something to talk about. We know that Alejandro Garza, he's fairly comfortable at third base, but he's shifted around to other parts of the infield now with the injuries for Cal Poly. And Antonio Castro starting at second base today, Spiridonov at third, with Garza getting the start at short in the absence of Nate Castellon. Rowan Kelly at the plate, a ball and 2 strikes. Ness kicks and comes home. Swung on, lifted into left field. And the catch made out there.
And now you can see why Bikini was playing in the gap in left center field.
Had him down to a T. That was Dante Bikini in left field who made the play. Now the rest of the defense, you see Casey Murray Jr. in center. He's about as good of a defender in center field as there gets in this league. How about Ryan Taman, the catcher behind the plate? Griffin Ness's battery mate today. He's been a hot bat at that. This pitch is missed inside for ball 1 to Colin Bazzizo. Bazzizo, the junior, a .358 bat. That's top of the starting 9 for UCSB this afternoon. Ness, the 1-0. Hot shot to second. Fielded cleanly and on to first. Castro gets the job done. See, Jake Downing doesn't have the stature you typically see for a first baseman. And that kind of speaks to Cal Poly in that struggle to find an everyday starter over there at first, because they've shuffled a couple of guys around.
Larry Lee was hoping to be able to have a left-handed first baseman for the first time in many, many years here at Cal Poly. That would have been Braxton Thomas. But a few defensive lapses over on the right side of the infield forced Larry Lee to make some changes, and Jake Downing is now pretty much the regular at first base.
Now Hazovsky takes ball 1.
And then you mentioned Alejandro Garza. He started the first 15 games of the year at third, then moved over to second for 11 games, and he's making his first start tonight at shortstop.
Well, yeah, Nate Castellon had started all 27 coming into the afternoon. 1-0. Grounded to third. There's the action for Spiridonov. 3 up, 3 down. Griffin Ness retires the minimum in the first. Headed to the bottom half of the inning, where we will see Jackson Flora on the mound for UC Santa Barbara and the red hot bats for the Cal Poly Mustangs. Don't go anywhere. If we said there wasn't a lot of buzz around this young man, he's projected as a top 5 pick in next year's MLB draft.
Jackson Flora is one of the premier pitchers in the country. This year, 5-0 and an ERA. I believe it's below 1, is it not?
Sure
yeah,
is.
0.83. And he was pitching lights out against Cal Poly a year ago. Went the distance in UC Santa Barbara's 4-0 victory to clinch the series a year ago at Cesar Wasaka Stadium. He threw a 1-hit shutout. The only hit, Nate Castellon, a leadoff single in the 5th inning.
Well, Flora's been good all season long here as well. And he'll take on this lineup for Cal Poly. Dante Bikini leads things off. Bikini actually in left field. Garza batting second. He's at shortstop. Cam Hoyland, Ryan Taman. Casey Murray Jr. in center field. Braxton Thomas in the 6th spot. Jake Downing, Gavin Spiridonov, Antonio Castro, 7, 8, 9. Well, they'll face Jackson Flora. Now, Flora's velocity is up there. He can kick up into 100. First pitch. Swung on and lined to second base. That's caught on the fly by Ryan Severance. That was a hot shot by Dante Bikini. He tried to jump on it early.
He couldn't hit the ball any better. but it was right at the second baseman for out number 1.
And you see Severance, who just made that play, hasn't started a ton this season, but for Severance, gets the nod today. Hazovsky over at first. At short, that's Nunez. Esker at third. First pitch is inside to Alejandro Garza. Oh, behind home plate, that's Nico Libid. We saw a different catcher on the screen a moment ago. But Alejandro Garza at the plate. Here's the 1-1. Swung on and lifted to left field. Rowan Kelly, and he makes the grab. That's 2 down. Well, Garza, preseason player of the year. Jackson Flora, projected pitcher of the year candidate for not only the Big West, but Baseball America. Now steps in Cam Hoyland. Hoyland, the right fielder, a .338 batter. And he's found the power stroke at times this year as ball 1 misses high and away. I think the expectation coming into this start was that it would be reminiscent of a Friday night, that we would see a pitcher's duel on both sides. Just outside for ball 2. Hoyland, a seasoned veteran. He did not go around on an appeal down to third.
Neither of these two teams playing sterling baseball the last couple of weeks. UC Santa Barbara off to a 14-2 start, but they have lost 8 of 10. Cal Poly, meanwhile, had lost 2 of its last 5.
As strike 1 comes in, well, Eric, it's a fair point, and better yet, both teams have had winning streaks of 10 or more this season. So we've seen potential and maybe peak for each side. That's strike 2 in there.
Cal Poly won 10 in a row, and UC Santa Barbara won 13 in a row before. Both teams have been struggling a little bit recently.
And Cal Poly opened up Big West play on the hottest of streaks. Payoff pitch, missed inside for ball 4 to Cam Hoyland. He's the first base runner of the day for either side.
The Mustangs are coming off a nice win Tuesday at Fresno State, 10-4. Ryan Taman with a solo home run and a grand slam. Meanwhile, UC Santa Barbara lost a tough game against number 12 USC on Tuesday in Los Angeles, 7-6.
Well, Eric, you mentioned a grand slam, didn't you? How about 3 of them for Ryan Taman? That tied the single season and career marks for any Cal Poly player.
And we just passed the halfway point. We got a long way to go.
Sure do. Swung on and lined foul. Taman in the cleanup spot of the order. He's got 9 home runs this year. Now with Cam Hoyland on first. Those 9 home runs a team high, but not only that, a lot of them have come as of late. Last 4 games, 5 bombs. 0-1. Taman skies this. Right side of the infield, foul territory. Hazovsky tracks it down. That'll do it for the first. Done with 1, scoreless in San Luis Obispo. Now the blue-green rivalry, and you talk about common opponents as we inch into the top half of the second inning. But these two teams have played each other a whole lot, with UC Santa Barbara the advantage. That said, Cal Poly has gotten the best of the Gauchos since moving to D1. And the coaching matchup. Larry Lee, Coach Andrew Checketts. Coach Larry Lee has been here for about 10 more years, longer than Andrew Checketts has in Santa Barbara, but 2 storied head coaches at that who have been perennially Two of the stronger programs in the Big West. Coach Larry Lee with Cal Poly and Coach Andrew Checketts with UC Santa Barbara. Well, Griffin Ness faced 3 and retired 3, just 1 inning in. Now he'll face the heart of the order. Xavier Esker due up for UC Santa Barbara. Ness comes on home. That's strike 1. Esker starting at third base tonight. We've seen him shuffle between DH and third. Everyday starter last year, but really had to work his way into the lineup this season. Well, now Ness is ahead 0-2. Rarely a strikeout pitcher, a guy who pitches to a lot of weak contact, smart about pitching around batters, does his prep. Ness, the Laguna Beach native. 0-2 offer. Soft roller to first. Ness covers, and there's one away with Jake Downing fielding the ball cleanly. Well, you talk about Downing being over there at first. He's slotted in. You remember last year, just a guy who said, hey, I can play there, despite rarely having a lot of experience over there, if any. You know, he had slotted in after former first baseman Zach Dode, who's now with the Houston Astros organization. He went down on a whim. This is bunted, right back to Ness. Slides, picks it up, fires, he got him!
Griffin Ness slipped as he tried to field the ball, threw the ball while sitting on his rump. One hop, but it was a nice long hop to the first baseman, Jake Downing, and he was able to pick it for out number 2.
You look at Griffin Ness. He's made that play quite a few times. It's Cal Poly uniform. Showing off that mobility. Now Noah Carliner takes a ball. Griffin Ness last year, an all Big West first team selection. That's upstairs. First 3 weekends were kind to Griffin Ness with an ERA below 1 through 3 starts. Noah Carliner, the 6-hole hitter. 2 balls and no strikes. Here's the pitch. Swung on, foul, tipped and squeezed by Ryan Taman behind home plate. Two-one pitch missed away. We saw Cole Kosciuszko try and lay one down. That's something the Gauchos do fairly often, but rarely to get a hit. Gives you an idea of the respect they have for Griffin Ness. That nasty changeup he's got. That's strike 2. Full count here. '20th pitch of the evening for Ness, and the offer. Five quality starts for Griffin Ness on the hill this season. Been the ace for the last couple of years for this Cal Poly team and Coach Larry Lee. Last year, the Mustangs and Ness would finish second in the Big West regular season, but make a run in the Big West tournament. Win the whole thing as Carliner whiffs and misses for strike 3. First strikeout of the afternoon for Griffin Ness. He hasn't allowed a base runner through 2. Half a two. Starter for UCSB, well, the ace in every sense of the word. He hasn't allowed a run in 26 innings now. Cal Poly had a runner aboard in the first frame, but now in the second, still in search of their first hit. Mustangs will have 5, 6, 7 due up against Flora. See Casey Murray Jr. coming to the plate with Braxton Thomas, Jake Downing due up later on in the inning. And Casey Murray Jr. is having a career year. The graduate student, I asked him before the game today, I said, is this the best version of Casey? He said, we're just trying to get better every single day. But with quite the smile, he said it.
He always has a smile.
Every day. Case takes strike one.
Casey Murray Jr. now has a 17-game hitting streak, and in the last 2 games, Sunday against Riverside and Tuesday at Fresno State, he waited until the 8th inning to extend this streak.
That's strike two. You mentioned how good he's been over the last 17 games, and in Big West play, he's batting .451. It's among the league leaders. 0-2. That's low. Nicknamed Boogie, came over from Riverside City College. Helped them win a junior college state championship in 2022. Ever since, a Cal Poly staple, as this is swung through and missed for strike three. Flora with his first tonight. Now Braxton Thomas to step in. Now the expectation for Thomas was he would be a power hitting first baseman. Instead, he's been a power hitting designated hitter. Thomas takes ball one away. Swung on, deep out to center field. Bazzizo goes back, and it is over his head. Hits the base of the wall. Thomas cruises into second base with a one-out, two-bagger.
Braxton Thomas now with 8 extra base hits this year, and each of them a double, as he is now at second base with 1 out for Jake Downing and Gavin Spiridano.
That brings up Jake Downing. Eric, the sophomore first baseman, with a chance to drive in the run from second, and Braxton Thomas. First pitch, nails the outside corner. Well, Flora allowed just 2 hits against a very hardy Oregon offense last week on Friday. 1 less day of rest this week. Downing hammers this left field and foul for an 0-2.
Flora, by the way, we mentioned his complete game last year, allowing just 1 hit. Had a one inning save 2 years ago against Cal Poly. So that double by Thomas is only the 2nd hit he has allowed against Cal Poly in 3 years.
Grounded to second. It eats up Severance. Tight play at first. He got him there. It moves Braxton Thomas up to third base with 2 away. And you see Downing trying to beat this one out. And Severance, the freshman, hasn't started very much this season, but due to a couple injuries for UCSB, he got the nod again today. Lucky it got his left foot on the way in as it missed the glove. Now Gavin Spiridonov in the 8th spot of the order. Strike one. Spiridonov slots in well over at third base. For Alejandro Garza started the year, but they've needed Garza's versatility in the field. Softly grounded foul. Spiridonov, a freshman, played summer ball with the Kelowna Falcons. 0-2. Grounded to short. Nunez waits on it, fields it eye level, and fires onto first to get the final out of the inning there. Cal Poly gets a base runner onto third after a one-out double from Braxton Thomas. Nothing to show for it. We're done with 2 in San Luis Obispo. Back here for the top half of the third inning. Still scoreless in San Luis Obispo. Griffin Ness has been on his game for the Mustangs. Hasn't allowed a base runner through 2. That'll bring up Nico Libid to lead things off for UC Santa Barbara. Cal Poly was threatening against Jackson Flora a half inning ago with the Mustangs a runner in scoring position and just one away, but still unable to get a run across, despite the Mustangs being one of the better offenses, if not best, in the Big West, and a team that consistently shows out year over year. Their hitting is prime under Coach Larry Lee, the 24th year head coach, but right now Griffin Ness showing off how good he is as an ace. Typically the Friday guy, going with one less day of rest this Thursday due to Easter weekend. He now faces 7, 8, 9 in the order. First pitch into Nico Libid. That's just outside. Here's the 1-0. And hits on the outside corner for Ness. Well, Libid behind the plate. He split time with Nate Vargas back there for UCSB this season. 1-1. Swung on and lifted deep left field. Back there, Bikini, and the catch is made at the track. Yeah, quite the run he had to make there, Eric.
Libid with no home run this year. In fact, he only has 1 extra base hit, a double. He gave that ball a long ride, but Bikini able to track it down for the first down.
And now Corey Nunez. Libid offers it. Excuse me, Ness offers it to Nunez, better yet. Bernardo Silva and the women's soccer team here in the house, the champions of the Big West, walking through the concourse. Quite the feat he completed in his first year with Cal Poly. These are 2 schools with 2 tremendous women's soccer programs as well. The 2 reigning Big West champions, UCSB 2 years back, Cal Poly this season. And here's the pitch. Nunez takes strike 1.
Ness has fallen behind the count 2-0 to the first 2 hitters of this inning, but got Libid to fly out to deep left field and just got a strike over against Nunez, 2-1.
Yeah, Libid got a hold of that ball, but just stayed in the yard. Ball 3. Well, the wind is blowing out from home plate toward left today. Quite the gust as you walk into the stadium. And if you get it high enough, the wind will carry it over the wall. 3 balls and a strike. Here's Ness. Hot shot to Downing. Fielded it backhanded, and Ness there to cover. 2 down.
That was a nice play by Jake Downing over at first. Max mentioned it earlier. Downing last year replaced a couple of Cal Poly injured players. First Ryan Fenn at second for about 3 weeks, and then he replaced Zach Today for a couple of weeks over at first. And played very well in those games, replacing injured players. This year, pretty much an everyday player at first base.
Downing shows off the leather there. Regardless of whether he's first base or anywhere else in the infield, that is a tough play to make. Does so effortlessly. Now Ryan Severance. Severance takes strike 1. 9-hole hitter for UCSB before it turns to the top with Rowan Kelly. So far, so good for Griffin Ness. 8 up, 8 down. Nothing in 1. High and out. Severns with a couple of hits and 15 at-bats this season for UCSB. 1-1. That's down and away. As you mentioned, Eric, Ness has gotten behind on a couple of batters, but boy, he's done well to fight back. Pitch count, just over 30 at this point. That's outside.
Two and one to each of the first two batters, got both of them, and now he's behind Severns, 3-1.
Here's the pitch. That is lined for a base hit into left field. 2-out knock for Ryan Severns, his third hit of the season.
And that's something. Severns making just his 6th start of the year, carried a 133 batting average to the plate, and he gets his team's first hit from the number 9 spot in the order.
Now, Severns is one of those guys who just sees a lot of pitches, super patient up there, gets ahead of the count and waits for one. So he's on first base with a 2-out single. Back to the top of the order for UCSB and Rowan Kelly. Kelly takes strike one.
First time this inning that Ness has jumped out in front.
Kelly, the lefty, went the opposite way in the first inning. Flew out to Dante Vecchini in left field. He was playing in the gap. Ness with the pickoff move over to first, nothing doing. Kelly at the plate, a bat that can get the best of you. The epitome of a leadoff guy. He sees a lot of pitches. 0-1. Breaks in there for a called strike. Quite the movement on that breaking pitch from Ness.
Yeah, and Andrew Burke is giving the pitchers that high strike so far tonight.
Now Ness ahead in the count 0-2 after being behind the last 3 batters. The 2-strike pitch. Ripped foul. There's a shot that you see some fans in the stands. This place is filled up, I'd say about halfway. Imagine Friday and Saturday with usual times. You might see more fans in the stands on those games. 0-2. Breaking pitch. It gets behind Taman. Severns onto second base. He takes it cleanly for, what is that, a pass ball, Eric, or you call it a wild pitch?
That's a wild pitch. This is a pass ball. This is a wild pitch.
Wild pitch it is. And ball 1 at that. Yeah, skipped in front of home plate.
Usually just about anything in the dirt is a wild pitch. The only time I make an exception is if the runner is at third. Catcher needs to make a little bit of a better effort to keep that ball in front of him.
Now the runner at second. 1-2 hangs outside for ball 2. Ness coming off his 4th win of the year last week at Riverside. That was a game Cal Poly put up 22 runs of production on offense. Breaking pitch missed high and out. Didn't break quite at all. We have a full count here for Rowan Kelly with this 2-out rally. You see Santa Barbara trying to pepper together. Ness, the payoff pitch. Well, Kelly at the plate is the lone player for UCSB to start every game this season. The payoff. High chopper to Downing. He's got the field and the bag for the out to close out the frame. Hey, UCSB and Cal Poly, no score on the board with similar lines. Moving to the bottom half of the third inning. Well, we mentioned that Cal Poly women's soccer team, the champs of the Big West, showing off the hardware on top of the Cal Poly dugout. Very cool seeing what Bernardo Silva and company did in his first year at the helm with the Mustangs. Plenty more positives to come for Cal Poly. And we're moving on to the bottom half of the third inning. Cal Poly and UCSB, no score. Back to it, 9-hole hitter Antonio Castro to lead things off in the frame. Castro takes ball one outside. Just his 6th start of the season. Castro got the nod at second base. Swung on, popped high in the sky, center field. Colin Pazizzo ranges in. Back to the top of the order we go for Cal Poly. One down. Jackson Flora returns to the hill. Lone hit he's given up this afternoon. A hard shot over center field. Dropped in front of the wall, a double. Nothing to show for it for the Mustangs. Dante Vecchini lined a hot shot to second his first time up. Adds ball one. One and one count now for Vecchini. He represents the top of the order for Cal Poly. We talked about the absence of Nate Castellón today, who had stapled in to that top spot. Castellón, well, he had been the leadoff hitter for much of this season for Cal Poly. Vecchini last year, leadoff hitter for much of the year during each of their freshman campaigns. 2 balls and 1 strike for Dante Vecchini. That's through for a base hit on the right side. 1 out knock for Dante Vecchini. See Logan Denholm, first base coach over there, chatting with Vecchini at the top of the order. Didn't try and do too much on that ball inside. Alejandro Garza, these Cal Poly bats trying to get at Jackson Flora. We'll keep an eye on Dante Vecchini over at first base. Attempted 2 steals this season. Cal Poly not a team that's aggressive on the base path. More often than not, it's a hit and run rather than a straight steal. Swung on, popped up. Looks like it'll stay in the infield. Nunez there, 2 down. Now to Cam Hoyland in the 3 spot as Flora fires over to first. Vecchini dives back safely. Flora's been efficient despite the 2 hits for Cal Poly. Hoyland flares this into shallow left field. Rowan Kelly won't get there in time. It got behind him. Kelly overplayed it. Vecchini into third base. Hoyland takes second. Cal Poly's got a pair in scoring position. Now, Rowan Kelly had played center field for much of the year. He shifted over to right field at times, today starting in left.
Hoyland going to get a gift double. Left fielder Rowan Kelly. Yeah, he kind of misplayed it a little bit, but the ball took a bit of a funny hop. And Rowan actually overran it a little bit. And so Hoyland's going to get the double, Bikini the third.
You're a generous scorer, Eric. That brings Ryan Taman up to the plate. 2 in scoring position. And Taman, who leads Cal Poly with 30 RBIs this season. A lot of that has to do with his 3 grand slams on the year, as ball 2 missed.
I don't know which is more impressive, 3 grand slams or 5 home runs in his last 4 games. You know, both are remarkable in this day and age.
Remarkable indeed. And part of that is because he said that his misses was when he was staying over the ball and switching out to right field. He was pushing the baseball. So he's been dropping his hands a little bit more, trying to stay low and drive it as a pull hitter instead. Here's the 2-1.
The other thing I like about Ryan Taman is he's pretty aggressive at the plate. When he has an opportunity, like especially with the bases loaded or runners at second and third or scoring position, he is going to go after that ball, and he is probably going to drive more often than not 1 or 2 of those runners in. Leads the club with 30 RBIs.
And he swings and misses here for strike 3 on the throw down to first, and that'll do it for the frame. Cal Poly gets a pair in scoring position, but Jackson Flora gets out of the inning. 2 hits, no runs, with 2 left on. We're done with 3.
Santa Barbara, no runs, 1 hit. I think they've had 4 base runners in the game, but have stranded all 4, 3 of them in scoring position. So we go to the 4th and a scoreless tie, 2-3-4 for the Gauchos. Bezizo, Lazowski, and Esker for head coach Andrew Checkett's Gauchos. Checkett in its 15th season. Larry Lee in his 24th as the head coach at Cal Poly. Bezizo grounded out to second his first time up, hitting .352. One of just 2 Gauchos in the starting lineup with batting averages above 300. Cal Poly has 5. First pitch off speed for a strike. Griffin Ness has 1 strikeout in 3 innings of work. One and one.
Yeah, well, we mentioned that Ness is not necessarily a guy who strikes out a ton of batters. His bread and butter is pitching to the weak stuff, trying to pepper the corners, staying away from the bats, not giving anything that these bats can feast on.
1-1 pitch on the inside corner, strike 2. Having said that, against Washington State, second weekend of the season, Ness entered the game with a career high of 7 strikeouts, and he struck out 14 Cougs, doubled his career high in one night. But you're right, he's not a real strikeout pitcher. He doesn't get that many strikeouts in a game. 2-2 the count to Bezizo, leading off the 4th. Griffin Ness just picks up his 2nd strikeout. Bezizo tied up on that one. 1 away. First baseman Nick Kozowski coming up. Grounded out to 3rd, his first time up. .258 batting average. First pitch goes all the way to the backstop.
Well, we mentioned that Ness has been one of the primary arms for Coach Larry Lee ever since he was a freshman. Started off with a tremendous performance at Cal State Fullerton.
Ness misses with the off-speed pitch, 2-0. Hazowski, a transfer from Ball State. Fifth-year senior out of Ramona, California. Here comes the 2-0 from Ness, fouled away.
Eric, you remember that Cal State Fullerton game March 29th, so just about a year ago, or I should say better yet, 2 years ago against Cal State Fullerton. He pitched a one-hit outing, a combined one-hitter with Tanner Seguspie, who's now playing with TCU. It was against Cal State Fullerton. They took it into the 9th inning.
He took the no-hitter into the 9th before
Sure did.
giving up that hit, just like Josh Wolmerding did against UC Davis last year. 2-1 pitch in the dirt, ball 3.
Ness, the son of a former basketball and baseball Cal Poly Mustang, Kobe.
Three-one pitch grounded to the left side and foul. So the count goes full. You know, we've got another former Cal Poly multi-sport athlete who's up in the sky right now. Victor Glover, the astronaut, played a little football, did some wrestling at Cal Poly, and now he's on Artemis 2, which launched yesterday from Cape Canaveral.
Yeah, he's on the way to the moon.
Yes, he is. Here comes the 3-2. Swung on and grounded up the middle, off the glove of Alejandro Garza into right center. It'll go with the base hit for Hazowski with one out here in the 3rd. Garza had to go a long way to get to that ball and carried off his glove. So the Gauchos have their 2nd hit, and here's Esker, the 3rd baseman. Grounded out to first. His first time up, hitting .216. Hitting in the cleanup spot for the Gauchos today. That's hit into the gap in right center field. Casey Murray over to cut it off, and he will hold the runner at 3rd. Throw went to 2nd base, and Esker was almost tagged out by Garza, but the 2nd baseman, 2nd base umpire, Denver DeBrule, called the runner safe. So the Gauchos have runners at 2nd and 3rd with one out here in the 4th. First serious scoring threat for the Gauchos today.
Oh man, quite the slide from Xavier Esker. How did he manage to keep that foot on the bag? That's unreal.
The hitter, Kosciuszko, the designated hitter, comebacker, his first time up, hitting .286. First pitch is a strike at the letters.
Well, he dropped one down. It wasn't necessarily one of those traditional comebackers right back to Ness. Ness made quite the play on it, had to charge, throw on to first and a spin.
A 1 pitch is a comebacker through the legs of Ness and into center field. That will score 2, and the Gauchos jump out on top. 2-0 on the single by Kosciuszko. Three hits for 2 runs here in the 4th inning for the Gauchos. Still only one out for Carliner. Noah Carliner, the right fielder, hitting .215. Struck out in the 2nd inning. First pitch, fly ball, right center field. Murray on his horse, he's not going to get there. That lands on the warning track. Rounding 3rd is Kosciuszko, and he'll be held up. Gauchos again with runners at 2nd and 3rd, still with one out here in the 4th.
Quite the rattle of offense here from UCSB in this 4th inning.
That draws Seth Moyer out of the Cal Poly dugout. Pitching coach will huddle with his infield, his catcher, and his pitcher Griffin Ness, and see if Ness can hold the Gauchos to just a couple of runs here in the fourth. They have 2 more in scoring position. This is the 251st meeting between these two clubs. They started playing in 1942. Both teams were members of the California Collegiate Athletic Association until the Gauchos elevated their program to Division I in 1969 and moved to the Pacific Coast Athletic Association, later the Big West. Mustangs moved to Division I in 1994. Ness will stay in the game and pitch to Libid, who flied out the left his first time up. The 167 hitter climbs in. A righty-righty matchup here. First pitch, a little bit low. Mustangs have 17 wins this year, and 10 have been of the come-from-behind variety. And if they're to pick up win number 18 tonight, they'll have to do it again. One-0 pitch on the way. Outside 2-0. First base is open, but with a 167 hitter at the plate, Larry Lee will go after him. On deck is Nunez. Two-0 pitch, check swing. It will cost him a strike, 2-1. Mosiusko at third, Carliner at second, 1 out. The infield corners are up. 3-1 the count.
Now you fear that UC Santa Barbara can score these 2 runs in scoring position. It might be enough with Jackson Flora on the mound. He hasn't allowed more than 2 runs all season.
That's ready for the 3-1 pitch. And it's hit down the left field line. And it's fair. Lands in the corner. It will score 2. Another double for the Gaucho, 3rd of the inning. And UC Santa Barbara leads 4-0. You're right, Max. That's going to be a tall mountain to climb. A 4-run deficit against Jackson Flora, who entered this game with an ERA of 0.83. Nunez at the plate, still only 1 out. This inning started with a strikeout. Since then, 3 doubles and 2 singles for 4 runs. First pitch inside, ball 1. Nunez grounded out the first, his first time up. Ness checks on Libid at second base. Brady Estes, left-hander, freshman, up in the bullpen for Cal Poly. Who did I say? Did I say Brady Anderson?
No, Estes,
Okay.
you nailed it.
I wanted to make sure.
Yeah, he's up there.
1-0 is outside 2-0.
UC Santa Barbara's coming off 4 straight games against top 20 opponents. 3 against Oregon, 1 on the road. That was at USC. Number 12 USC has been one of the hottest teams in the country. They were up here earlier this season.
Three 3-0.
So the Gauchos have seen some great arms as of late, and a team that just hasn't been able to get the offense rolling. But you imagine with contagious hitting, that just opens up the floodgates.
Cal Poly playing a what could be the toughest part of the schedule themselves with UC Santa Barbara here this weekend, and the Mustangs go up to Oregon State next weekend. And in 2 weeks, they play the first place team in the Big West, UC San Diego, on the road. Rio pitches over 3-1. By the way, I was going to have a discussion with you about who's in first in the Big West.
The UC San Diego is 8-1.
And Cal Poly is 10-2.
Who has a higher win percentage?
That's true, UC San Diego. But Cal Poly is a half game ahead of the Tritons.
I think it's based on the win percentage. That's how I see
Well,
it.
you can do it either way, and I prefer to go by games behind leader.
And frankly, that wasn't, you know, the graphics that we show, that's not my decision, but that's more just what the Big West has on its website.
That's what they have on the website.
Yeah.
You go to d1baseball.com, and they have Cal Poly in first place.
Yeah, I saw that too.
So, doesn't really make any difference. UC San Diego has played 3 fewer games because the Tritons had to bye in the Big West schedule in the first week of the conference schedule. Cal Poly will have to bye next week, and that will even up the number of games the two teams have played in the Big West. Larry Lee out to the mound, and Griffin Ness is going to come out. This is the second trip to the mound for Cal Poly, and Brady Estes will come in. Let's pause for these messages during the pitching change. His 8 warm-up tosses, freshman left-hander out of Rockland, northeast of Sacramento, graduate of Whitney High School. And Petty has pitched quite well for the Mustangs in his first season. 3-0 win-loss record and an ERA of 1.89. This is his 11th appearance on the mound. He made a start in one of the midweek games a couple of weeks ago. Has 1 save. Pitched 19 innings with 21 strikeouts. Estes inherits a couple of runners on base, first and second, with 1 out. And the Gaucho sending the number 9 hitter to the plate in Severance. Second baseman singled in the 3rd inning, was left stranded on the base paths. Severance hitting 188. Gauchos have scored 4 in the 4th and looking for more with runners at first and second, 1 out. Estes from the stretch, first pitch a strike. The 2 runners on base, the responsibility of Griffin Ness. So far, he's given up 4 runs and 6 hits. Next pitch on the outside corner, strike 2. Good crowd on hand for a Thursday night game. Tomorrow's game also at 6:05. Saturday's finale 1:05. 0-2 pitch outside. Estes a little bit low with the 1-2 pitch. The entire infield now covered in shade, and most of the outfield, except for a small area in left center. Estes, instead of delivering the 2-2, goes to second base, chasing Libid back. Temperature about 60 degrees as we have passed the 7 p.m. mark here in San Luis Obispo. 2-2 pitch just misses, ball 3. Full count with 1 out. And runners at first and second. The runners go, and the pitch is fouled away. Gauchos have parlayed 5 hits into 4 runs here in the 4th. Still only 1 out. The runners go again. The pitch outside, ball 4. Back to the top of the order, and Kelly will come to the plate with the bases loaded. Left fielder 0 for 2. Flied out to his counterpart, Dante Vicchini, in the 1st inning and grounded out to first in the 3rd. Gauchos with a chance to break this game wide open.
As if 4 runs isn't a lot already. This is not a team that scores a lot. Often 2 runs, 3 runs will get the job done, especially with Jackson Flora on the mound. Something different kicked into the Gauchos here in this 4th inning.
2-0. Yeah, maybe something like going through the batting order a second time against Ness.
That's part of it. Ness retired his first 8 hitters this evening.
The only blemish on Ness's record in the first 3 innings, a 2-out single, 2 severance. And he struck out the leadoff hitter here in the 4th. But then the floodgates open for the Gauchos. 5 hits and 2 walks. 4 runs so far, and the bases are loaded with 1 out. Three and 0.
But where do you go now if you're Larry Lee? What do you do? Because your starter comes out of the ball game. Estes has yet to find his spots, in danger of walking home yet another run, and this inning has already gotten away from Cal Poly.
Inside ball 4, and the 5th run of the inning comes across. Kelly with the RBI, and the Gauchos have batted around.
And Estes is not a guy who allows a lot of traffic on the base path. But so far, UCSB has just been patient up there, seen a lot of pitches, gotten to the starter, chased him out, and now in danger of getting to the 3rd pitcher for this 4th inning. Cal Poly's got to reel this in quick.
First pitch to Pizzizo is at least called strike. Yeah, Larry Lee would like to save some of his top relievers in the bullpen for maybe another day if the Mustangs fall too much further behind here. 0-2. Josh Morano secured 2 outs in the game at Fresno State on Tuesday. Oh, 0-2 the count. Estes delivers on the outside corner. First strikeout for Estes, 2nd out of the inning.
That's a little more like it for Brady Estes. Freshman, Rockland, California. Also played basketball. You know, he's a competitor. Going to compete at a high level. And you just expect him to come in and throw strikes, but it's not that easy in these high-pressure situations with runners on. Finds his groove right there. Maybe that's how the tables turn.
Lazowski at the plate. Take low and inside, ball 1.
He started this whole thing. There was 1 out in the inning. Lazowski singled. That's how this rally came alive.
Lazowski 1 for 2, hitting .265. Next pitch, hit in the air to center field. Casey Murray moving about 2.5 steps. Makes the catch. And the inning finally comes to a close. Gauchos, 5 runs, 5 hits, and they leave the bases loaded. After 3.5, 5-0 UC Santa Barbara. Nothing lead as we go to the bottom of the 4th. Jackson Flora will be hard to beat with that 5-0 lead, but the Mustangs with a .301 team batting average will try to put a dent into that 5-run deficit. Casey Murray Jr. leads it off, struck out in the second inning. Flora with 2 strikeouts, 1 walk. Bidding for his 6th win of the year against no losses. First pitch to Murray, down low and inside. Murray hitting .358, 17-game hitting streak on the line. 0-2. Make that 1-1. Braxton Thomas on deck, followed by Jake Downing. Flora, the right-hander, delivers inside. 3-1. Murray draws the leadoff walk here in the 4th inning. Here comes Braxton Thomas. Thomas doubled in the 2nd inning. Advanced to 3rd on a ground out to the right side, but with left stranded there. Thomas hitting .282. Oh and 1. Flora ahead of Thomas, 0-2. Everybody in the Big West playing tonight. Thomas with a fly ball to pretty deep center field. About 10 feet in front of the warning track is Bazzizo for the first out. Jake Downing grounded out to 2nd, his first time up, hitting .210. Had a 4-hit game in the UC Riverside series last Friday. Oh and 1. Perhaps the marquee game in the Big West this weekend outside of this one would be Hawaii at UC San Diego. Hawaii leads 3-1 with San Diego batting in the bottom of the 3rd in La Jolla. 0-2 to Downing. CSUN leads Long Beach State 7-2, top of the 7th in Northridge. Cal State Fullerton leads UC Riverside 7-1, bottom of the 5th at Titan Goodwin Field. 1-2 the count to Downing. UC Irvine hosting UC Davis for 3, and the Anteaters on top 3-1, bottom of the 4th. Cal State Bakersfield has the bye, hosting Utah Valley for a weekend series. Downing stays alive, 1-2. No score in that one. Utah Valley at CSU Bakersfield, bottom of the 2nd. Utah Valley joining the Big West next year. Along with Sacramento State and California Baptist. Downing, a fly ball to deep center field. Bazzizo makes the catch for out number 2. Murray with the leadoff walk. He's still at first after a couple of deep fly balls to center. And Gavin Spiridanoff coming up. Spiridanoff grounded up the shortstop, his first time up. Off-speed pitch, strike one. Mustangs have had base runners in every inning, but have stranded 4 so far. One more here in the fourth. That pitch in the dirt gets away from the catcher, and Murray advances to second on the wild pitch. Another Mustang runner in scoring position as the Mustang try to cut into UC Santa Barbara's 5-0 lead. 1-1 the count. Flora misses low and inside, 2-1. Flora had the one-hit shutout last year. 2 years ago, gave up 1 unearned run in 1 inning for a save against Cal Poly. That pitch is over, 2-2. Flora trying to keep the Mustangs off the scoreboard here in the fourth. Two on the way. Ground ball to the right side. And the Gauchos get out of the fourth. Mustangs fail to score once again. 5 runners left on base through 4 innings. UC Santa Barbara leads at 5-0.
Well, we return to San Luis Obispo with Brady Estes back on the mound, top half of the 5th inning, and boy, a blink of the eye, UC Santa Barbara has scored 5 runs. They came all a half inning ago, and Eric Burdick, we know when he takes over, runs tend to come. They came on the top half of that 4th inning. Here we are into the top half of 5. Estes took over for Griffin Ness, who went 3 1/3. All 5 of the runs accredited to him, despite the 2 walks from Estes. Now he faces Xavier Esker in the cleanup spot of the order. Gauchos hit around an inning ago, and Esker had a double in the frame and would come home to score. He now steps in, 1 for 2 today. First time he faces Estes this afternoon. Estes, the lefty, set with the heavy shift on the left side of the infield, and ball 1 misses high to Esker. Xavier Esker has spent a couple of years at Arizona, transferred over, now in his 2nd year with the Gauchos. An everyday starter last season, but again, had to work his way into the lineup this season. That's skipped in. He's dealing with a finger injury, but that finger injury hasn't kept him out of the lineup over the last few. Says it's more about his fielding and his throwing rather than the bat itself. We saw that a couple innings ago with that double. Now Estes coming set here. That's ball 3. Boy, Brady Estes has been good through his first year in collegiate ball. This is his 11th appearance of the season with an ERA below 2. He's primarily out of the bullpen and fires strike 1 at the letters to Xavier Esker. Now, Estes has just 1 start through his collegiate career to this point, but he showed some true potential. 4 innings he pitched against Pepperdine in the start, struck out 10. That's popped up behind home plate. Ryan Taman gives chase, and he runs out of real estate as the ball cascades into the stands. Well, I'm not sure if you heard me right. Brady Estes struck out 10 of the 12 outs he recorded in his first collegiate start. Estes is a star, or at least has the potential to be. He's one of two pitchers on this Cal Poly staff that comes from Whitney High School out of Rockland, California. Both he and Corden Petty, each freshman. See Petty tomorrow. Payoff. Swung on, belted deep left field. Xavier Esker sent it foul. Just to the left of the pole. Again, Esker with minimal action this season. He's yet to run into a home run ball. That one certainly had the distance, but he hooked it to the left of the foul pole in left field. Esker climbs back in. 3 balls and 2 strikes it remains. And he got him. That's strike 3. Rung up on the inside corner. Estes struck out Esker, and there's one away. And you see that front door breaking ball. Nails the inside shade. Esker doesn't like the call, thinks it was too far inside around the belt. Now Cole Kosciuszko steps in. Kaz today 1 for 2. Swings and sends this foul left side. Estes, an inning gone by, has yet to allow a hit. This is a hot shot foul. Now Estes ahead in 0-2 count. The UC Santa Barbara has struggled to find the run production that we've seen from this Gaucho team year over year. Now it's up to Estes to hold the hot bats at UCSB silent. They were held scoreless in 2 of 3 games last weekend versus Oregon. 8-2 win on that Saturday middle game. Cal Poly, on the other hand, won 2 of 3 at UC Riverside. Fly ball, center field. Casey Murray Jr. out number 2. So Estes has now faced 6, retired 4, a couple of walks to his name. Had the bases loaded an inning ago. Able to get out of the inning. Now Noah Carliner. Carliner bats in the 6th spot of the order. He too doubled an inning back. Sent foul behind home plate. Carliner sandwiched in the middle of a 1-out rally. One of 4 batters in a row to record a hit. 6 straight runners, check that, 7 straight runners would reach base safely, and that was all consecutively back in the 4th inning. Ball and a strike here for Carliner. Gets the bat ready and steps back in. Here's the 1-1. Breaking pitch missed inside. Yeah, Carliner, one of those guys who transferred over and spent quite a lot of time at other schools throughout his collegiate career. The graduate student in his first year with UC Santa Barbara. 2-1, drills the bottom half of the zone for strike 2. Estes comes home. That is strike 3, watched in. So Brady Estes strikes out 2 of the 3 he faces in the 5th frame. We're halfway through this one. Cal Poly Trying to hold these Gaucho bats silent, trailing 5. With a Cal Poly dugout, third base side. Here at Baggett Stadium. First of 3 this weekend. Starting a day early for Easter weekend here in San Luis Obispo. UCSB put up 5 runs in the 4th. Cal Poly going to find that kind of run production against one of the better arms the country has to offer. Starts with the 9-hole hitter, Antonio Castro, before it turns to the top with Dante Vecchini and Alejandro Garza due up later on in the inning. That's a classic matchup. Pitching versus power. Some of the most elite defense the Big West has to offer is UCSB with a top ERA nationally. Top 10 that is. Cal Poly, who leads the Big West in batting, frankly, many other offensive categories. Here's the pitch. Swung on, and that's into the gap for Castro. It'll drop and roll all the way to the wall. Castro takes the turn and heads on to second base for a leadoff double. Rev the engine, Antonio. That comes against Jackson Flora, who has been fairly sharp today. That's just the 4th hit he's allowed. There's been traffic on the base path in just about every inning for Cal Poly. But something that Flora does so well is gets out of these innings with minimal run production allowed. And now you see Castro on second. Back to the top of the order for Dante Vecchini. He's 1 for 2 today, a couple of hard shots. First pitch. Vecchini takes ball 1 low. And it'll be the 3rd time through the order for Jackson Flora, who hasn't allowed a run in 29 straight innings. Now Vecchini, he laced a line drive to second base in his first at bat today, and he singled back in the 3rd inning. Now a chance to get to Flora and the Gauchos chasing 5. Trip to the mound for Coach Andrew Checketts. Now, he's a great pitching coach. 15th year head coach, reached the 500 win mark a couple weeks back against Long Beach State. A lot of this might be just to set the infield, make sure everybody knows what to do if the bunt is on. Cal Poly historically likes to play that kind of small ball. This season haven't seen it as much because there's power in the lineup. One of those batters, Dante Vecchini, he has really come into his body now as a sophomore. Built a little muscle during the offseason. And Vecchini and the Mustangs, Eric, you've seen it throughout the season. This is a team that can just erupt for runs on any given inning.
This is true, but they haven't been facing pitching like Jackson Flora on the mound. We're going to make it a little bit more difficult tonight. And that's why Andrew Checketts went out to the mound. He wanted to nip this thing in the bud.
That's ball 3 to Dante Vecchini, who's well ahead of the count. Wonder whether he has the green light here.
Vecchini was hitting as low as 217 when that USC series was played. Now he's got his average up to 281 entering tonight's game.
Must have just nibbled at the bottom of the zone. 3 balls and a strike for Vecchini at the top of the order. That's sent in the air left field. Rowan Kelly, 1 down. That's when the Vecchini wants back. You're ahead in the count. Last thing you want to do is pop up in that situation. Sometimes a batter's eyes get, so big looking for one of those fastballs. That was 97 miles an hour on the radar gun. Flora's been living there. Now Alejandro Garza. Big West preseason player of the year fouls away the first he sees. Garza was he was a monster at the plate last season. All Big West first team honor, and this year, mentioned the preseason player of the year. He hits a hot shot to Severance on the backhand. He fired on to first. That's the second out of the inning. And you look at how Cal Poly gets a runner into scoring position, but right now, UCSB has quieted that rally. It was the first batter of the inning. Castro doubled. You thought the Mustangs would have something, and that's what good pitching does. They just kind of lock in when they get into trouble. Flora faces Cam Hoyland. That sweeper comes to the outside corner for strike one. Well, Hoyland in the 3 spot. Ball 1. That's popped up. Right side of the infield. Pazovsky, it's dropped in foul territory. They'll call that foul.
Jackson Flora wanted it, but he got out of the way at the very last second. And the first baseman, Hazovsky, dropped it.
Oh, that was
That's
quite the play.
On Hazovsky.
Yeah, Hazovsky was in foul territory there, and the runner remains on third. Maybe tough to track it in the lights. Would have gotten him out of the inning. Boyland drills this back against the netting foul. Some action in that UCSB bullpen. Last week, Flora went 5 scoreless against Oregon, allowing 2 hits. Cal Poly looking to get to him. Ball and 2 strikes. Strike 3. Flora fired up on the pitch. And with a runner on third, he's left stranded. Jackson Flora hasn't allowed a run in 30 innings in a row. Robin Baggett Stadium, campus of Cal Poly, Mustangs trailing 5. It's tough to catch up to UCSB's 5 runs when Jackson Flora is dealing, and he dialed it up to 100 to close out that 5th frame. Now Brady Estes back on the mound for Cal Poly. Estes replaced Griffin Ness in the 4th inning. Here he is for the top half of 6. Haven't seen that run production we are accustomed to seeing from Cal Poly, but again, Eric, you mentioned that a lot of the wins for the Mustangs are come from behind victories. Got to be able to keep this Gaucho lineup quiet now. They want a chance in the late frames.
There's still a chance, but they got to get into the UC Santa Barbara bullpen and knock Jackson Flora out somehow, some way, and that's a tall order.
Estes now faces Nico Libid. Libid takes ball 1 inside. 7, 8, 9 due up for the Gauchos. Libid 1 for 2 today. He had that roaring double a couple innings back. Ball 2. There's a strike on the outside edge. Libid drove home 2 on that double back in the 4th inning. Just his 5th and 6th RBIs of the year. This is drilled deep left center field. Casey Murray Jr. back to the track, and he'll haul it in for out number 1. And Casey Murray Jr. had 165 chances in the outfield last year with no errors. Tracked that one down as Limit gave yet another pitch a ride. He has really gotten into the pitches today. Libid throwing off a little power despite not having that home run. He had one that went just wide to the left of the foul pole. Another double, and that pitch out to the track. Now Corey Nunez. Nunez batting 8th. He's 0 for 1 today. Reached on a walk a couple innings ago. Swung on deep to right field. But there's Cam Hoyland, second out of the inning. And Nunez skies out after Libet does the same. Quick work so far for Brady Estes. That brings up Ryan Severins with 2 away. Estes from the stretch and comes home. Strike 1 to Severins. Ryan Severins had a single in the 3rd, walked in the 4th. Strike 2. High and outside. Last is so far through 2 1/3 innings on the mound today. Has yet to allow a hit, despite a couple of walks. Here's the pitch. Waved and missed at for strike 3. Estes sent him down. 3 up, 3 down for Brady Estes in the 6th inning. His 4th strikeout of the afternoon. And Cal Poly back to the plate for the bottom half of 6 on the other side. Hi there, everybody. We welcome you back here to Baggett Stadium. Hey, it's a 5-0 ball game. So far, so good for UC Santa Barbara on the road in Game 1 of this 3-game series. And it's a rivalry game. No love lost between these two teams. Gauchos got out in front, and some hot pitching has kept the Cal Poly bats silent. Ready to go for the bottom half of the 6th inning, with the Mustangs trying to get back on the board, and it'll start with the heart of the order. Ryan Taman to lead things off, and Jackson Flora returns back to the mound for his 6th inning. Along with Eric Burdick,
in my head,
didn't
it
want to
sounded
stand
like
up
4
for that.
lines. I was like, great, I can move.
I'm shy.
Eric, I know you're shy, and frankly, the Cal Poly bats, aside from maybe this big swing, have been shy so far tonight. It's a fly out to right field. There's one down. And this Cal Poly team, they produce runs at the highest rate of any team in the Big West. But so far, Jackson Flora has just been great.
And Casey Murray Jr. coming to the plate with a 17-game hitting streak on the line. A strikeout and a walk so far tonight. Probably has a couple of more chances to extend that hitting streak.
First pitch is in there for a called strike 1. Casey's batting .362 on the year. He's in the 5th spot of the order. Cal Poly has pieced together a base runner in just about every inning so far this afternoon.
You don't have to say just about. They have, at least through 5.
A lot of the time it's come with 1 out. And strike 2. Casey Murray Jr. has gotten on base every game this season, including tonight. 1-2 offer. Cal Poly as a team don't strike out a lot. Least strikeouts in the Big West. 1-2. That's down for ball 2. Casey swings foul, tips in and squeezed behind home plate. That's strike 3. There's 2 down. Brings us to the 6-hole hitter. Here's Braxton Thomas. First pitch, yanked outside. Flora's dialed it up to 3 digits already tonight. Comes in the most important moments as Thomas fouls this away. So far, 5 2/3 scoreless for Flora. 4 strikeouts on the evening in search of win number 6. One. That's away. Some nights the Cal Poly bats are just on. You look at that Friday game against UC Riverside, they posted 25 hits. Strike 2, drilled on the outside.
13 times in their last 17 games, the Mustangs have had double-digit hits.
Well, that is swung on and foul tipped, squeezed for strike 3. 5th strikeout of the evening for number 2. Jackson Flora looks sharp once again, now in San Luis Obispo.
Poly will have a new pitcher on the mound as we go to the 7th inning. EC Santa Barbara leads the Mustangs 5-0. Troy Cooper on the mound for Cal Poly, no record. An ERA of 3, pitched a scoreless inning against Fresno State on Tuesday. Just his 3rd appearance on the mound, all in relief. 3 innings, 3 strikeouts. Cooper will be facing the top of the order for the Gauchos. In the 7th inning, Kelly, Bazizo, and Buzovsky. Cooper, 6'3", 200 pounds, right-hander out of Stevenson Ranch. A graduate of Hart High School in Saugus. Ryan Taman throws it down to second. And in a moment, Kelly will come to the plate, 0 for 2 plus a walk. That walk produced an RBI.
Hey, you mentioned Hart High School, Eric?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, he's one of 2 players on this roster from Hart High School. Both he and Chris Downs pitch there. Downs has a year on him.
Did you know we had 3 players from Whitney High School?
2 of them pitchers. We just saw one a moment ago.
Yes, and catcher Josh Mendoza.
Brady
First pitch to
Estes
Kelly
and
misses, ball 1.
Corden Petty, who we'll see tomorrow. He'll start that Saturday game, or better yet, the Friday game in the middle of the series, because we're playing one day earlier this week.
Inside corner, strike 1 to Rowan Kelly. Cooper's next pitch is low, 2-1. Second game of the series, Friday at 6, and the finale Saturday at 1 before we enjoy Easter Sunday. Cooper falls behind Kelly 3-1.
Yeah, it was a picture-perfect day for baseball today at the time of first pitch. Turned into night. Hills of San Luis Obispo have faded behind that Central Coast black night sky.
Rowan lines one to left, and Bikini is there to make the catch for out number one. Temperature was 65 degrees at first pitch. Now getting close to dipping under 60 for the rest of this game. On Tuesday at Fresno State, it was a misty rain from the fourth inning on. And I think there were a couple of rainouts in California on Tuesday. Ground ball to third. Spiridonov has it. 2 away here in the seventh.
And it's really been that one inning for UC Santa Barbara. 5 runs in the fourth, and aside from that, not a lot of production anywhere else.
Gauchos were retired in order in the first and second innings by Griffin Ness. A 2-out single in the third, and then the floodgates opened in the fourth. 5 hits and 3 walks for 5 runs. First pitch to Huzovsky is a called strike. Huzovsky 1 for 3, hitting .263. Just misses with the big bender, 1-1. I couldn't tell you where that missed. 2-1.
Yeah, well, you know, getting back into a 5-run deficit, it doesn't happen all at once. Even with one swing of the bat, you couldn't do it. But you really got to piece together quality at bats over and over again, pass the baton, and try and piece together maybe crooked numbers through 7, 8, and 9. Cal Poly finds themselves in a tough hole, but once Jackson Flora does exit the ball game, whenever that may be, they have a better chance.
Well, he didn't exit the game last year, went the distance in the 4-0 Gaucho victory. Cooper misses on 4 straight pitches and didn't miss by much. A 2-out walk to Huzovsky, and here comes Xavier Esker. Esker with a double in the 4th inning, 1 for 3. Hitting .231. Huzovsky at first with 2 outs. Fly ball to shallow left field. Garza about 10 feet out on the grass makes the catch, and the inning is over. 7th inning stretch time at Baggett Stadium. UC Santa Barbara 5, Cal Poly 0. A look at the baseball clubhouse. Newkirk Pavilion, where some of the fans taking into tonight's game. And they haven't seen much offense by Cal Poly. Just 4 hits and no runs. Given up by Jackson Flora. Bottom of the 7th. Bottom of the order for Cal Poly. Jake Downing, Kevin Spiridonov, and Antonio Castro.
Eric, how about those heaters in that clubhouse? Quite the facility they got, but the heaters themselves, and we've seen that from there. We've seen it on the field with a couple of these pitchers and the velocity this evening.
Downing hitting .207, 0 for 2 tonight.
That facility is pretty nice that they showed a moment ago. Eric, I remember you gave me a tour of it last year. Took me around the place like you owned it.
Ground ball to the right side. Handled cleanly by Huzovsky. He takes it to the bag himself, 1 away. Yeah, it's quite the facility compared to what the Mustangs were using for a clubhouse back in the first 20 years of this century. $9.4 million, I think, was the final cost, and it's really a beautiful facility.
Oh, Baggett Stadium became Baggett Stadium in what, 2020, 2001?
Right.
Okay. So it's been about 25 years since.
Spiridonov with a fly ball to shallow right field, and the second baseman makes a fine catch. Ryan Severance, out number 2. We'll see that play again. Severn going out to shallow right field to make the catch. A little bobble, a little snow cone, ice cream cone, but he holds on for the second out. 2 up and 2 down on 2 pitches. Antonio Castro at the plate.
Now, Flora's made quick work, and you look at the pitch count. Keeping that in the 80s right now as he's an out away from being done with his 7th inning of work. That sets him up for maybe going the distance, and no Gaucho pitcher has done that this season.
One-zero pitch is fouled off by Castro, 101. Castro doubled his last time up, 1 for 2, hitting .240. Grounded foul outside of first, 1-2.
You see Nick Azovsky, traditionally a second baseman. They've slotted him over at first base. Quite a lot of injuries for the Gauchos this year. Impressive what they're doing.
Cal Poly has largely escaped injuries, at least among the position players. Costion out of the lineup tonight with a sprained ankle. And Castro called strike 3. 8 pitches in the inning for Flora. And after 7, 5-0 UC Santa Barbara.
And we welcome you back here to Baggett Stadium. We move into the 8th inning of action. Right now, a 5-0 ball game. UC Santa Barbara pieced it all together in 1 inning. And Jackson Flora has held Cal Poly silent the rest of the way. Back to the mound for the Cal Poly Mustangs. Troy Cooper will take over. You see the fans in attendance this Thursday evening. Ballpark was fairly packed. They've started to scatter out with this lopsided game to this point. Imagine there will be some good crowds on hand the rest of the way. 6 o'clock first pitch tomorrow afternoon for game 2 of the series. 1 o'clock on Saturday. Troy Cooper returns here for Cal Poly. Middle of the order. Cole Kosciuszko, Noah Carliner, Nico Libet due up in the inning, 5, 6, 7. Kosciuszko had a knock earlier today, 1 for 3. And strike 1 comes in there. Back to Cooper. He faced 4, retired 3. Got 1 inning in the books. That's strike 2. Nails the inside. Kosciuszko batting just below 300 this season. Drove home 2 runs with a single earlier today. And that skipped in front for a ball. Cooper's got a 5-pitch mix, relies on the 4-seam and the 2-seam. The changeup, cutter, curveball as well. That's grounded to first. Downing is there himself. 1 out in the inning. Noah Carliner now. First pitch, popped up behind home plate and foul. You wonder how the loss of Castellón, at least for tonight, affects this Cal Poly order. He was working during batting practice, but that rolled ankle kept him out of the lineup tonight for the first time this season. Maybe just a day off to get back to 100% for tomorrow's action. That's strike two. Maybe a sign of what's to come. For us, really no idea. All we know is that tonight he was inactive and he had started all 27 games up until this evening, despite being active during batting practice before the ball game. This is swung through and missed by Carliner. That's the second out. Strikeout from Troy Cooper. Down to Nico Libid. Five of the 6 Gaucho hits came during that 4th inning where all the runs were scored. Aside from that, Cal Poly has been able to keep them at bay the rest of the ball game. Ball 1 misses to Libid. That said, Nico Libid has struck 3 hard-hit balls. One soared the wall on the left side, just to the left of the foul pole. Another one, a deep fly ball over the center fielder, resulted in the double. A third for Libid, a long fly out to left where the ball was caught at the track. Libid the junior, a transfer from San Diego. He produces some sneaky pop. Line the other way and into right field for a 2-out base hit. Libid takes a hearty turn, scooped up and sent in by Cam Hoyland. So despite 2 quick outs from Troy Cooper, UCSB's got yet another runner aboard. Nico Libid continues to piece together good at-bats. He could be a danger on the base path, and the Gauchos like to manufacture runs. Here's the pitch. Nunez. Well, they'll call a balk, actually, on Troy Cooper. On to second base goes Nico Libid. Libid now in scoring position for the top half of the 8th. First pitch into Nunez. Popped up foul. And that counts as the first pitch. After the balk, the pitch is waved off. No pitch there. So it's a 0-1 count. We've got our rules analyst here having me describe the rules. Eric, you know better than anybody.
There's no pitch on a balk. Is that what you're asking me?
Well, that's a fly ball deep out to right field. Hoyland gives it chase, and it's into the corner. Libid scores from second. Nunez with a run-scoring double. UCSB 6-0.
Troy Cooper sailing along, having retired the first 2 batters of this inning. Gave up a single to Libid and an RBI double to Nunez, and the Gauchos add on to their lead.
Brings up Ryan Severance. UCSB with its most runs in game 1 of a series since late February against Utah.
You know, we had a balk in the UC Riverside series last weekend that I didn't really know the rule about it. That Cal Poly had a runner at second. And the UC Riverside pitcher turned around and wanted to try to pick off that runner at second. Problem was there was no UC Riverside infielder anywhere near second. So he threw it to the shortstop, who is about where Garza is right now. And I guess you can't do that in college baseball.
Called that a balk.
Yeah, call it a balk.
Even you, who's been doing this for quite some time, you learned something new.
Yeah, that's true. Are you saying that I'm old?
I would never go there.
Even though it's true.
But you've been around this ball club ever since Larry Lee took over, now in his 24th season.
Yeah, and one more before that with Rich Price, who went on to coach for 20 seasons at Kansas before retiring recently.
Well, from the Birdman to the Bird Nest.
And we saw one of his sons Tuesday night in Fresno State. Richie Price is a coach for the Bulldogs.
You just saw Sean McGrath warming up for Cal Poly. Three balls and a strike. Severins takes ball 4. That'll move it to the top of the order for Rowan Kelly. And again, Cal Poly had a couple of quick outs, but UC Santa Barbara just piecing together. It's a 2-out rally. Seth Moyer comes out of the dugout. He'll chat with Troy Cooper. Cooper, who's gotten through 1 2/3 innings, 2 hits and a run so far. A lot of the time, Seth Moyer comes out for a mound visit just to simplify the situation for the pitcher. Say, hey, all you need right here is a ground ball to get out of the inning, a fly ball to get out of the inning. Let your defense do a little work. You don't need too much. But a chance to simplify things. Keep it in check. And maybe we can save the arm of Sean McGrath warming up at the bullpen. Moyer, the pitching coach and recruiting coordinator.
Cal Poly this season has been shut out twice, both by USC, 4-0, 6-0 last month. Actually, we're in April now, so 2 months ago. And the Mustangs have 6 outs left to try to get on the scoreboard tonight.
That's away. Rowan Kelly at the top of the order. Kelly's yet to record a hit this evening. But boy, when he's on base, he's dangerous. Ball and no strikes. It's grounded foul.
By the way, I'm not sure anybody picked up on the defensive changes for the Gauchos in the last inning. Kelly moved over to center field, and the guy on deck, Stagg, came into the game to play left.
Max Stagg has played quite a lot of outfield, all different positions for UCSB. This is something the Gauchos do late. They shift around their defense. Cooper, 1-1. That's outside. Troy Cooper trying to get through Rowan Kelly. Already one mound visit for Cal Poly with the right-handed arm warming up in the bullpen. UCSB has scored once so far this inning. Here's the 2-1. Popped up, left side, foul territory. Taman with quite the run as it's into the stands for strike 2. Wonder whether we'll see Jackson Flora in the bottom half of the 8th inning. He's gone 7 scoreless to this point for UCSB.
Yeah, and he'll have an extra day of rest for next week. They'll play Friday, Saturday, Sunday next week and get back on the regular schedule.
That'll be at home against UC San Diego. This pitch is waved out and missed for strike 3. Well, that'll do it for the top half of the 8th. UCSB adds a little cushion. 6-0 Gauchos. A couple hits in the inning and a run scored. Cal Poly needs to wake up at the plate. We'll see you in just a moment. UCSB. Flora's through 7 innings of work so far this evening. Allowed 4 hits, 6 strikeouts, no runs so far, despite the Mustangs having traffic on the base path. Up until that last inning, Cal Poly had a runner aboard in every frame. So far for Jackson Flora, however, he's been able to keep a clean sheet. Came into tonight with 25 innings in a row, consecutively, not allowing a run. That streak continues into the 8th this evening. It'll be the top of the order for Cal Poly. Dante Vacchini, Alejandro Garza, and Cam Hoyland. There is action in that UCSB bullpen. We saw Colt Schreiber up and getting warm during the half inning as that miss is outside. Got to get in between the half inning. Vacchini takes a strike on the inside edge. On the 90th pitching of the night for Jackson Flora, the velocity's dropped. It was at 97, 98, at some points hit 100. That fastball was 95 on the inside half. But it hasn't dropped much, and you see, even deep into these outings, he's still got insane stuff. That's up and away. Dante Vacchini looking to get on base for the second time today. He's singled back in the 3rd. That's on the outside edge. So a full count here for Vacchini leading off the 8th inning. Flora winds and fires. Popped up. Left field. That's Max Stagg, who just entered the ball game as a defensive substitution. He makes the grab out there for the first out of the frame. Alejandro Garza in the 2 spot of the order. Flora. Breaking pitch, cuts on to the inside half of the plate for strike 1. Garza today 0 for 3. That's eye level. 1-1 count here for the 2-hole hitting Alejandro Garza, who shifts over to shortstop for his first start at short this season. Swung on, fly ball into right. Noah Carliner along the line. That's out number 2.
Mustang getting some good news out of La Jolla tonight. Hawaii playing at UC San Diego. And the Rainbow Warriors have scored twice in the 6th to take a 5-1 lead.
Now ball 1 to Cam Hoyland. You know, that's good news with the race at the top of the Big West, but right now Cal Poly in danger of dropping its 3rd Big West loss this season, despite its 10 wins, which lead all conference teams. UCSB took a weekend off of Big West play last week. Gauchos took on Oregon at home. This pitch missed outside. Three balls and no strikes to Hoyland. In on the inside corner. Over 100 pitches on the afternoon. And the offer. That's strike 2. Here's the payoff. Rounded to first. Hazovsky flips onto Flora covering, and Jackson Flora is through 8 scoreless. It's UCSB 6, Cal Poly nothing. Right-handed pitcher takes on the 9th inning for Cal Poly. This is his 8th appearance of the season. He's got a 12 ERA, 12 innings of work through 7 appearances so far, all out of the bullpen. McGrath, the freshman from Novato, California. Is that Novato? Novato.
Novato.
Novato. Okay, we nailed it the first time.
Nailed it. Up in Northern California.
Graduate of San Marin High School. And a 20-2 record with an ERA below 1 over 163 innings.
How many innings?
163.
Oh. Who?
McGrath.
Oh, in high school.
That was in high school,
Oh.
yeah.
I'm sorry. I missed that part. Meanwhile, while McGrath is warming up, a couple more Big West scores for you.
Yeah, what else is going on around the league?
Cal State Fullerton all over UC Riverside, 9-1. Bottom of the 9th in Fullerton. Cal State Northridge has defeated Long Beach State 7-2. UC Irvine leads UC Davis 4-1. Bottom of the 8th. Anteaters 11-17 overall entering tonight's game. 3-6 in the Big West, but it looks like they'll get back on the winning track tonight. Cal State Bakersfield hosting Utah Valley in a non-conference series. Utah Valley 6-1 in the top of the 5th.
Yeah, that Anteater team was projected to finish near the top of the Big West. They just haven't been there this season. This would be a good win to get them on the right path against UC Davis, who has been strong all year. And frankly, primarily, better yet, in Big West play. You know, the Aggies with series win against UC Santa Barbara. Took one, that series finale against Cal Poly. It would be the first Big West loss of the year for the Mustangs. Strike 2. Pitch. Be a 2-2 count here. McGrath pitching to Max Stagg. Stagg bats at the 2 spot of the order. He's batting in place of Colin Bazzizo. The pitch. Fly ball right field. Boylan waits on it. Couple of steps back, and there's one down. No defensive changes for Cal Poly. Mustang team that is fairly spent when it comes to players they can put out there. And you know what? Maybe that's not true, because they got Dylan Kordich, who we've seen as a stud, a power hitter throughout his Cal Poly career. 3rd season with the Mustangs. This is a hot shot into the glove of Jake Downing. 2 away.
Jake Downing had made a couple of fine defensive plays over at first base tonight. Won a ground ball to his right that he had to dive for, and threw to his pitcher covering the bag for an out, and that one catching the line drive.
You wonder whether Cal Poly will turn to any of those, any of that depth, by the way, in the 9th frame. Xander McLaurin also on the bench. He could provide a little spark. But it would take quite a lot. And Xavier Esker takes strike 1 here. Esker's lone hit today was a big one. Had that double back in the 4th. Came in to score a run. In that 5-run 4th frame. Spiridonoff fields it in foul territory. They called it foul.
Yeah, but the ball was fielded in front of the bag, which makes it the home plate umpire's call. Anything beyond the bag is the third base umpire's call, but guess who made the call?
May you imagine Andrew Burke, the crew chief, would sign with third base umpire Gary Gilman. Yeah, but Burke has the power to overturn that call. Got a 0-2 count to Esker in the cleanup spot of the order. The pitch. Got him. That's strike 3. Quite the inning from Sean McGrath. 3 up, 3 down. Gives Cal Poly a chance in the bottom half of 9. But the Mustangs need to climb a monumental feat of 6 runs. We'll be right back. Second career complete game. He works his way into the 9th inning with a 6-run lead against Cal Poly. He pitched a complete game back on April 19th of 2025. 9 innings, 9 strikeouts, just 1 hit and a walk. That too was against Cal Poly. He gets up for these games in a rivalry matchup. He'll have to face the heart of the order for the Mustangs. It starts with Ryan Taman as ball 1 misses upstairs. On that given evening, about a year ago and change, Flora threw 126 pitches. Tonight, that number's a little closer to 107. To this point, that is. Still needs 3 more outs to finish off the ball game. As ball 2 misses off the outside corner. You imagine the fans, and not just that, the scouts as well, somewhat salivating at the idea of what Flora could be in his ceiling. Not only he, but many other players have potential to piece together tremendous major league careers. But we've seen that through Cal Poly guys in the past, including Brian Wu, Mitch Haniger, those stars, and not to mention Brooks Lee, Coach Larry Lee's son. UC Santa Barbara has its fair share of major league players as well. Michael McGreevy and Shane Bieber, to name a couple on the opening day rosters this year. 2 balls and 2 strikes. That's strike 3. Taman waves and misses. There's 1 away. For Jackson Flora, that's his 7th strikeout of the evening.
Casey gets 1 more chance to extend his hitting streak, sitting at 17. In his last 2 games, the Sunday game at UC Riverside and the Tuesday game at Fresno State, he got his streak extended in the 8th inning.
Nico Libid took a foul ball off the helmet there. Libid behind the plate for UCSB. We mentioned Stagg took over at left, Kelly in center, Carliner in right. Infield remains the same for UC Santa Barbara. Sienna Baldwin, Gaucho trainer, out to chat with Libid behind home plate. If you think Flora's lost a touch, by the way, he threw 96 miles an hour on that last fastball. Casey Murray Jr., on the other hand, 17-game hit streak. He's gotten on base in every game this year, including tonight, in which he walked back in the 4th inning. 0 for 2. Here's the pitch. Murray watches strike 2 go by on the inside half of the plate. Flora. Got him. That's strike 3. Jackson Flora strikes out his 8th batter of the evening. Needs just 1 out to finish off the complete game. And the first pitch to Braxton Thomas is in there for a strike. 1-1 now.
You said 126 pitches in that last complete
That's
game?
correct.
It's 116 tonight.
UCSB as a team has not had any complete games this season. But if anybody were to break that drought, you imagine it would be their ace. All the buzz surrounding this guy. Jackson Flora, a ball and 2 strikes to Braxton Thomas. And the 1-2. Ball game, that's strike 3. Jackson Flora, a complete game shutout. 9 scoreless innings, 4 hits, 9 strikeouts, and he closes it out with 3 strikeouts in a row to finish off the 9th. UC Santa Barbara takes game 1 of the 3-game set as the rivalry heads to game 2 tomorrow with 6 p.m. first pitch. But the first chapter of this weekend is written, and it starts with Jackson Flora. Much of the Gaucho run production came in that 4th inning, but they wouldn't need much. Cal Poly had base runners in each of the first 6 innings tonight. Just couldn't get anybody across despite the runners being in scoring position. Eric, final thoughts here from San Luis Obispo.
Flora moves to 6-0, and Griffin Ness suffers the loss. He falls to 4-2. Time of the game, 2 hours and 30 minutes. Haven't gotten the official attendance yet, but it was a little over 2,000, I believe, tonight. And the Mustangs will gather in the huddle down the left field line, regroup, and get ready for tomorrow. And for the Mustangs, they are hoping that they're still in first place by a half game over UC San Diego as the Tritons trail Hawaii 5-1 in the bottom of the 6th. So we'll look forward to tomorrow night's game right here at 6:05 Vegas Stadium.
The middle game tomorrow, after a tremendous performance from UCSB starting pitcher Jackson Flora this evening. Gauchos, with that 5-run 4th inning, get the job done and take a 1-0 lead in the series, heading to 6:05 first pitch tomorrow. For our championship crew and for Eric Burdick, I'm Max Kelton saying so long from Baggett Stadium here in San Luis Obispo. All broadcasts are archived on the ESPN app, and this has been a presentation of ESPN. Good night.